It sure is.
And to our listening ears, all nature sings and round us rings the music of the spheres.
Brothers and sisters, welcome to Penn Sunday School, starring Penn Gillette. My name is Mike Guido. Matt Donnelly, Penn and I are broadcasting from the show Creator Studios South in Las Vegas. On this week's show, we'll talk about life as a dunk tank clown. Also, Penn just finished the book, Stories of Your Life and Others by Ted Jang. So here he is, preaching love, Mr. Penn Gillette.
Yeah, preaching love. Good article. Good article in the New York Times about the dunk clown.
Yeah.
Now, if you don't know this, anybody that's, I really think, really sort of kind of younger than 70, but I had the pleasure of being from a small town where the Franklin County Fair would have a dunk clown. And what a dunk clown is, it has a terrible history.
I think people are kind of familiar with it now. They still have it at school carnivals where you can throw and knock one of your teachers into the wall.
Oh, that's right, they do.
There's a really mild version of it.
Well, when we first did the first Asparagus Valley Cultural Society show in 1975, September 1975, Princeton, New Jersey, Theater on Team, a little 100-seat theater that Teller scammed us into.
Yeah.
After we'd done Asparagus Penn's unicycle jump for life, that ended with me bleeding in the hospital. My ribs kicked in.
40 years ago.
Yeah, 40 years ago. No.
42 years ago.
44 years ago, you idiot.
44 years ago,
Yeah.
you idiot.
Yeah.
Got it.
We set up on stage that the second half started with me on a plank in a cage insulting the audience as they came in. And then they could buy baseballs and throw them at a target, dunk me in the tank. And we did not start the second half until someone dunked me.
Oh, that's
I
great.
went in, there was a second bit. They always call it bozo. I mean, I always heard it called bozo. I believe it's what Gary Busey is doing in the movie Carny,
Oh.
the Robbie Robertson movie. He's bozo. And bozo's high and dry. I am high and dry. Say that over and over again. And then as people come by, you insult them. And they throw a baseball, and if they hit the target, you go into the water. And they wear wetsuits because it's cold. But still, a wetsuit is not that good for going in and out of the water. And they have enough makeup so they're not recognized because people will beat them up. And they insult people.
Yeah.
And they just there was a lawsuit where one of the bozos in the South insulted an African-American woman, and she sued. Because, boy, that's where the deep pockets are. Guy working the carny. You can make some serious money. We can certainly say that she was suing for principle because she was not looking at I'm going to take everything you've got, clown working at midnight on a plank in a wetsuit screaming at people. I'm taking everything you got. Okay.
We're down to some McGillicuddy. How can I direct your call? Yes, I'd like to bring a huge lawsuit.
There's money. We will take this.
Yeah,
I'm going to make this board into my fireplace mantle.
we think with a couple of carefully placed ads, we can make this a class action lawsuit. Anyone have you been hurt? Have your feelings been hurt by a dunk clown? Call our law offices.
We're going to take it on contingency. You pay nothing until we settle. Have your feelings been hurt by a dunk clown? So I never did it in the actual carny,
Yeah,
but I know guys who've done it.
sure.
And it is a weird gig. I have one really, really cute story. I have pretty good, Pete, our manager,
Yeah.
Golden. He always talks about how much I hate sports and how I claim that I don't know anything about sports. And then he always tells a story that we were in England and he was across the street a long ways away. And all of a sudden he got hit really hard with a snowball right in the side of the head. And he looked across the street, and there I was, further than a pitcher's mound away. And it landed a snowball directly on his head. I don't like sports, but I do have, as you know, pretty good hand-eye.
Yeah.
Pretty good
built-in
hand-eye
skill with our job.
from years of juggling.
Yeah.
So there was a dunk tank at the Franklin County Fair when I went with my mom. And my mom was already in a wheelchair. This was probably, this would have been in the very early 90s, maybe mid-90s. And I had gone to the Franklin County Fair with my mom. And I was pushing her in a wheelchair. And I believe the dunk clown recognized me and was saying, Hollywood boy is back here pushing his old lady mom and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Was that your grandmother and insulting us?
Yeah. Mr. Ponytails.
And my mother said, put him in the water, Penn. And I said, oh, sure, Mom. And I paid my whatever it was, $2 or $5 and got 3 balls. And I said, she goes, just dunk him. And he started, I don't think I'll be able to throw, and I threw the first ball, bang, dunk. Right?
Yeah.
And he first throw, and he got out, put the plank back up. It takes a while. I took my second ball, boom, dunk.
Because sometimes they do it super fast to make sure you don't feel the satisfaction of dunking them. Well, get out of the water super fast.
Well, they get out as super fast as they can, but there's a plank issue you have to do.
Yeah.
Right?
Reset.
There's a reset.
There's a reset. And he got out again, and I went bang 3 times in a row with 3 balls. And my mother said, that was good. Do it again. And then out of the next
$100 later.
out of the next group of 3, I believe I missed one. And that got the bozo very excited. He was very happy I missed you. You throw like a girl.
One of my first dates with Sarah was San Gennaro Festival, streets of New York, and I was totally roped in by an insult clown.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And then Sarah and I were only dating for weeks. And I was like, oh, okay. And
What was he insulting you on?
I'm trying to remember. I think he's making fun of the outfit I was wearing.
Uh-huh.
It's about the outfit I was wearing. And
Was this year, you were wearing the Playboy Bunny outfit?
yeah.
Yeah, the years.
I was probably knowing me, I was probably wearing some flannel and some bear necklace or something. So,
you mean bear in the sexual sense?
yeah, that's what everyone else told me every time I wore it.
You just like bears?
Yeah, he said something or whatever, and then I thought, oh, well, it'll be funny. We'll do this. And then as soon as I paid money to get the 3 balls, Sarah then also paid money to get her 3 balls. And I realized in that moment that I played a lot of sports as a kid, but baseball I was not particularly great at, and I couldn't remember the last time I'd even thrown a ball. I was like, I really got roped into this hook, line, and sinker, And I was like, maybe I can do some kind of comedic bit to get out of, sure enough, a crowd starts gathering. I mean, it worked. It worked. Everyone starts gathering around. So here comes a big guy, see if he can dunk the clown. Well, I go to throw the ball, and it just goes in a direction that physically is impossible. It just goes like straight up and kind of behind me into like a net, and just kind of almost hits I almost hit my own head with the ball. Sarah sinks him first ball. So then I'm a little embarrassed, and I try to throw the second ball. I miss. I get to go forward, which is an improvement, but no dice. Sarah sinks him again.
Nice.
Turns out Sarah was a catcher in softball. And I learned this on whatever number date we were on at this moment. And finally, on the 3rd ball, she missed. This has nothing to do with the clown anymore. I'm just being embarrassed by my date. There's no the clown. The clown could smoke a cigarette now for all he cares. His job is done. He does not do any work. The embarrassment is happening around us. And this is our last podcast. She said, "Can you make any argument for a God?" I just said, if there's a God, please let me just sink him once to have some dignity. And I sunk him on the 3rd ball.
Nice.
So yeah, I still leave an inkling. I still leave a little bit of room for God in my life.
Have you done a dunk tank?
I have not.
Not even thrown?
No, I haven't thrown or been in one. I would. Absolutely.
Yeah, they do them. They do them at school things.
School
now.
things, yeah.
They put a teacher in them, and the
Yeah, the principal sits in there.
teacher says, "I'm a teacher.
Yeah.
That's their insult.
Yeah.
I'm a teacher.
Their insult is that they're alive. There's the principal. I got to dunk him. Probably works pretty well.
Have we really lost all context for this kind of stuff?
It seems so. I mean, they even interviewed Jeff Ross in the article.
Yeah.
About how there's certain lines you can't cross. And there was an amazing article, editorial in the Times about a writer. I should have his name. A fairly well-known writer, African-American writer, who just quit a writer's room because he was talked to by human services about using the N-word in the writer's room. And he said, which is a great line, I am the N-word in the writer's room. And he was using it to tell a story. He was not insulting someone. He was not making it uncomfortable. He was telling a story of something a police officer had said to him.
Yeah.
Okay, so it was a quotation, and it was part of the writing thing. He hadn't worked it in. And someone anonymously called HR and complained, and he was told that he had to be careful. And he said, I don't have to be careful because I quit. It's an amazing article. And I don't know how I feel about all this sensitivity stuff. I mean, you're allowed to complain that your feelings were hurt. You are allowed to do that. Once again, we know that it wasn't an African-American in the room complaining, but you can be not African-American and be troubled by language that has nothing to do with you. It's very.
Yeah, it seems.
It's a tough one. But the dunk clowns, making fun of people's race,
Right.
being overweight, being fat is a big one.
Yeah.
Looks is a big one. Fashion. I mean, is as much as you get that in an Alabama county fair.
Right.
But I mean, wearing clothes that are inappropriate.
Yeah.
And I could easily make the very, very strong argument that what the clown in the dunk tank is doing is pounding down the nails that stick up, certainly making fun of weakness, trying to get people more homogeneous.
Right. The quote from him is, I basically get paid to call people stupid.
Yeah. And you can see all that. But the other argument is that maybe, one of the people in the article says he's just saying what everybody's thinking. Maybe that's okay too, the jester role. But anyways, that particular, I would rather have the insults happening in the carny with a guy in makeup than in the White House.
Right.
And I mean, I think that's what you need to have is if you have, and they make this, the argument they seem to make in the article is very different than the argument that I feel. I do not feel that we are getting more sensitive as a culture. I feel that the gross unkindness is more universal now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When you've got the cruel, horrible things that a president of the United States says, when Obama's in the White House, it seems like having a clown say horrible, rude things while you're eating popcorn at 11 p.m. on the Midway is reasonable. But when Trump's in office, we've had enough of that shit. Maybe that's it. I don't know.
I think that
How
is
much would you
it.
pay to throw 3 baseballs to knock Trump into this tank?
Absolutely nothing. I mean, I just there'd be no fun in that. What I liked about Duncan, the guy there, is I also tipped, which I don't think is actually appropriate, but I did. What I did like was just I was throwing at the guy with no hostility.
Right.
It was just enjoying the fun.
Playing with your mom.
Yeah.
Playing with your mom.
Yeah, showing off for my mom.
Yeah.
And my mom and I having a good time. And I don't know. I know that have there been bozos in county fairs who have crossed lines that I would find horrifying? Of course.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Are there times that I would have found it just one of the most beautiful things I'd ever seen? Sure. It's this individual trying to get general society solutions for specific problems is a really tough thing. I mean, there are things that are uncomfortable and bad, and I don't know. Anyway, I don't know if our culture needs to make a general. I mean, can't you just say we don't know, and the bozo that's the funniest gets the most, balls thrown and stuff? But I mean, reality TV and all of that stuff has that kind of crass insulting.
This article seems to imply that the only people who throw balls are people who are angry. It also seems to say that, he gets beaten up every now and then by people.
He does. That's why you have to have the makeup.
Right.
To recognize you.
But that just seems crazy. Being mad at the dunk tank clowns.
When Martin and Lewis, Jerry Lewis and Dean Martin were working and in Atlantic City when they first hit. And Martin and Lewis were the biggest stars America's ever had.
Yeah.
They stopped traffic. I mean, much bigger than the Beatles and bigger than Elvis and faster. And when they hit in Atlantic City, it was big and fast. I mean, really, probably the most overnight success America's ever seen. I mean, they went from being totally unknown to being superstars within 2 months.
That's crazy.
It's great. Have you seen those old shows?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God.
What we never saw was them live in Atlantic City, which Arthur
But even
Penn...
the Colgate hours, the early Colgate hours were so frantic and fantastic.
Arthur Penn
Yes.
saw them live in Atlantic City, and Johnny Thompson saw them live in Atlantic City. And both of those guys, I pumped them for information.
Of course.
And both of them said, there was no act. I said, what were the bits they did?
Right.
There were no bits. What did they do? They were just there. It was insane. And they had a guy, talk about the long-suffering Glenn. They had a guy, okay, who would go out. He was a patch, for those who know the carny terms. He'd go out with this, because patches walk around the carnival with pockets full of money, and also they have prostitutes, and they have drugs, and they have liquor, and they can grab any toy anywhere, at any one of the things, and their job, our buddy AJ. His father, not Amazing Jonathan, we know another AJ. His father was a patch, So what happens is
a fixer.
The fixer. So the sheriff's son comes to the carnival and gets taken in by an illegal game and loses $500. Patch goes up, gives him the $500, grabs a teddy bear, gives him that, and says, "Hey, you like one of these women over here?" Makes it okay. That's all the patch does. And the patch's job is just fill his pockets with money, walk out, make it okay. And the less he can spend, the better. It's that great Marx Brothers story where they were negotiating with, I think, Irvin Thalberg for one of their movies. And they did the actual negotiation with him. And after a lot of wrangling, he reached into his pocket. They agreed on a figure, and he reached into his pocket and pulled out a check made out for that amount to the Marx Brothers after he had done all that wrangling. And Groucho says they were really thrilled that they'd gotten the deal they were going to get. And then he said, after they celebrated a little bit, he said, "You want to know what's in my other pockets?" So they could have gotten more.
The check index. The check index.
Yeah, check index with all different amounts. But anyway, when Martin and Lewis would work, they had a guy, their own personal patch, like the long-suffering Glenn, who when the show was over, he would go out to the people that, because Jerry Lewis would cut people's ties off, throw drinks in their faces. And some of these guys were like, mobbed up guys, dangerous shit. Yeah. They'd go out and say, "I'm going to buy a new tie and pay for the dry cleaning," and just keep shoveling off money until the guy shut up. Then they had a guy by the dressing room door so Jerry could get out without getting beat up, saying, "Listen, I know Jerry upset you, but we're always just having good fun. Here you go." And of course, they were making money hand over fist. So it's just a nutty job, right? Because you go out there with essentially any amount of money. And then the less you spend, the more you make.
Yeah.
We'll give you X amount of money.
Win Ben Stein's money game show.
Yeah.
Give you, here's $10,000. Shut those guys up.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think we, basically like, are we at a place where we're being asked to always color in the lines? You know, like comedy,
Always go what?
color in the lines. You know, like we all have to make sure we all do that, and even comedy. And I think it's hard. I think the political climate hangs over all this, right? Where I think you're right in different times.
But it's also really strange because every time you read any sort of right-wing person talking, they talk about how snowflakes and college campuses and da-da-da-da, everybody's so careful you can't say anything. And then we have reality shows and a president and rap music that are way outside of what would be allowed 20 years ago.
And Twitter, yeah.
And Twitter. It's this incredibly schizophrenic thing. Like I'm reading this book by, what was his name? Kevin D. Williams, the guy that got fired from The Atlantic for being too right-wing. Right?
Oh, yeah.
Reading his book, and his book is all about how, what's her name? The crazy right-wing woman.
Coulter.
How Ann Coulter can't speak at Berkeley. Right. And this is awful. And you read his book and you're saying, Jesus, we can't say anything. And then you turn on the radio. And, the guy can't use the N-word in a writer's room in the middle of a story. And you cannot turn on one of the urban channels on XM. You can't go more than 15 seconds without hearing the N-word. Isn't that true?
Right.
Maybe 20? I mean, really constant.
Yeah.
And, you're not allowed to use any sort of, you'd be very careful with gender terms unless you listen to the radio ever.
Right.
And so there's just, I don't understand, because when I hear the people complaining about freedom of speech going away, I said, what the fuck are you talking about? There are songs on the radio on the top 10 charts that would not have been allowed to be released in the 60s.
Right.
And yet certain people can't speak on college campuses. It's very, very complicated. And it certainly isn't really, really simple. I mean, dunk tank clowns go out of business, and the President of the United States tweets horrendous offensive stuff and actually does things against people who are transgender.
Right.
I mean, it's an incredible combination.
What's even strange, I think what's even more strange, is the dunk clown doesn't mean it.
Yeah.
Dunk clown really could care less about what you're wearing and how much you wear.
He doesn't care at all.
No.
Not even slightly.
He wants your $5. That's the limit of his care.
Yeah. That's the limit of it.
Yeah.
And I bet in many situations, I think the Times is wrong. In many situations, there's a playful quality.
Yes.
I don't think.
There are probably really good people at the dunk clowns and really bad people at the dunk clowns.
Sure. That's the thing, yeah.
Oh, yeah, for sure. But yeah, like you said, anyone who's been roped into it, the stories you and I both told, we're both going like, oh, right, there's this quality of like, my balls are getting busted here.
Yeah.
But it's not like, I'm being insulted. I must restore honor to myself and my family with these 3 baseballs.
If only I could get that guy in the wetsuit wet.
Then all is right with the
all
world.
will be back to normal.
So
I'm not wearing stupid clothes. He is.
I don't know, but I will tell you that I would like very much to go to a county fair and see a dunk tank.
I've been working fairs and I have not seen him. I have not seen one.
Well, the article says he's going up to Vermont,
right?
Which probably means he's stopping off in Greenfield because the fair is going on in Greenfield as we speak.
Yeah,
doing that,
which makes me sad because I would like to be there.
Yeah,
it'll only make me now want to go more.
We got to go book that one.
Yeah, book that one. Yeah.
Although I'm going to practice throwing a baseball between now and then.
Do we have anything even remotely like that here in Vegas?
We have a state fair.
Some people would say the Gazillionaire.
Yeah.
Talk about that.
Yeah, I mean that's a very interesting thing, and that character is the host of Absinthe, a very popular show here in town, and has managed actually to just keep its like hip edge, even though it's been here for almost a decade. which I think is its own commendable thing. And I think that character is integral to it. And every night that character comes out, he points to specific groups and types of people in the audience and insults them for sure. There's a couple really smart things from a writing perspective that happen when you see it that give it a much larger alibi. So, for example, what he actually does is he usually points out a group, if there's any older white people in the front row, he'll point to them and call them Republicans. And then he'll say, like, you guys are probably uncomfortable with, and he points out the minorities then after the fact at that. And it's almost pinning it all on the feelings are coming from those people, not him, which is a neat writing tool that I've made sure to make note of myself. It's also a character that works in Vegas. You know, I think part of the thing is that people come here to escape and people come here to indulge. And I think when you get, then that show's crazy. And so when you get that permission at the top of the show, it's almost really kind of encompassed in Vegas. That character has been gone out to LA and has gone through Australia and has run into different hurdles in those environments than it has here in Vegas. But yeah, I mean, it is, you can love someone enough that you can listen to what they say, you know, and that's just in a general sense, you know, that a lot of people have heard, you know, their grandparents say stuff. They're like, well, that just, you know.
Yeah.
So like, and that, but that happens with strangers too. If you love a character, love a celebrity, if you love Jerry Lewis enough, you will let him cut your tie.
Yeah, and
meeting for the first
we
time.
also know that from, I mean, we've seen that example very clearly in the roasts that Jeff Ross does.
Yeah.
If
we know your heart.
when they're friends, those roasts are wonderful.
Yeah.
When they really dislike somebody, those roasts are unwatchable.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, and it changes instantly.
Yeah.
It just has to do with how much they like each other.
And and I think
And Rickles. Don Rickles
I
did
saw
not
Rickles'
have
last show, and it was great.
He did not have an angry bone in his body, so he could do anything.
yeah,
And Joan Rivers too.
and anyone who's done insult comedy or done things that seem like insult comedy, Lisa Lampanelli, you know, for a long time, she's retired now, I believe.
Yeah, she's just a self-help person now.
Yeah. Because there has to be a modicum of like love or enthusiasm or admiration somewhere underneath those things, or they don't work.
That's true.
And so I think the lack of understanding of that is why it doesn't go over in a broad sense, why it can be offensive in a broad sense, but why we give each other that credit instantly when we're amongst friends and or around coworkers that we love or trust. That's what makes the writer's room story, of all the things you've told, the writer's room story is the strangest one to me.
Yeah, I can't believe that.
So strange.
It is strange.
Check it out. It's in the Times now.
Yeah.
It's a very short article and beautifully written.
'Cause
I wish I knew the shows he'd done, because they're very known show. Are you looking it up there, Ready Rich?
Nope.
Any sure not. Any writer's room is just I mean, if there's anything that's understood in entertainment to be like almost like a place of camaraderie or almost a sacred space, or certainly that it implies that you're cooped up in a room for long periods of time and your job is to throw all kinds of ideas out. Like, it's just so strange that someone would
But
take offense at it.
remember that this is anonymous through HR.
Yeah.
That changes everything.
It does.
Because we don't know if there's other politics going on.
Yeah.
Maybe he's too good.
Yeah.
I mean, there's that whole thing that has nothing at all to do
Yeah.
with what he said. When you have a room of people cooped up that deal with their own problems, that's one thing. When you have a room that's cooped up and people are working and they can go to dad anonymously and complain,
Yeah.
then you could bring in all sorts of other stuff. It might be that he didn't get a birthday gift for somebody.
Yeah.
I mean, it could have nothing at all to do with what we're talking about.
That would make
That's
more
a horror.
sense.
Boy,
Yeah.
what a horror that is.
I have it.
Okay. What's his
You
name?
asked me the wrong question because somebody had already mentioned
what's
it on
his
the
name?
chat. Walter Mosley,
Walter Mosley. What did he write?
Star Trek.
Star Trek. And he also,
Why I Quit the Writer's Room on
But it says-
September 6, 2019.
it also says on there what show he was show running. Was it Star Trek he was show running?
I see Snowfall and Star Trek.
Snowfall. Yeah, Snowfall. What's Snowfall?
No idea.
Okay. Another podcast you can listen to. Podcats, Podkats, bang, exclamation point, Las Vegas Entertainment. Johnny Katz is our guy. He covers all entertainment in Vegas. If you care about entertainment in Vegas, care about Piff the Magic Dragon, Dana Carvey, Craig Ferguson, Perez Hilton, Ice Cube, Wayne Newton, Carlos Santana, PODKATS, Las Vegas Entertainment, wherever you get your podcasts. We shouldn't be talking about the Copperfield anymore. Who's he had on since?
Lady Gaga's band conductor.
Oh, yeah, really?
Yeah, Brian Newman. Yeah.
There was good stories on that? You
Yeah.
said Lady Gaga?
I did.
That's nice. I like that. Lady Gaga. And you also had some Prince stories, right?
Yeah. That was Elisa Fiorillo.
Yeah. With a lot of Prince stories.
Yeah.
I just read the big article in the New Yorker on Prince, and it was really fascinating. I only met him once, but certainly got good stories coming up on Prince and David Copperfield and everything else. We love Johnny Katz. Find that episode and every episode, search Podcats, K-A-T-S, Podcats, Las Vegas Entertainment, Podkats, Las Vegas Entertainment. Wherever you get your podcasts, wherever you listen to this, you can listen to that there right now. Now, when you're singing Hey Jude, when Hey Jude is on the radio and you're singing along with it,
What's a radio?
and they come to the perpetual ending, and Paul goes, Jude, 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 wow, right?
Yeah.
When you're singing along with that, you want to do Jude, 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 wow, every time, right?
Yeah.
Da, 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 da. Jude, 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 Jude. Well, they just came out with Elvis's 1969, what's called the Comeback Special, where he recorded Suspicious Minds and In the Ghetto.
Yeah.
In the Ghetto.
In the ghetto.
In the Ghetto.
And his mama cried.
And Mama cried. And I love hearing all takes of stuff. I mean, I love Bob
Right.
Dylan.
Every bootleg, yeah.
Every bootleg. I love them all. But I also love the Beatles bootlegs, and I also love Elvis's bootlegs. I may love all of them because I love hearing 8 versions in a row of Suspicious Minds.
Yeah.
With little changes and doing stuff and hearing what he's doing. It's also fascinating to hear Elvis because Bob Dylan, when he's recording his songs, he is writer, actor, and director. So he's changing lyric things, he's changing phrasing things. Elvis comes in as mostly actor. And what I really love about Elvis is when in 4 takes in a row, his voice cracks in the same place. It means he's choosing that.
Yeah.
He's made these decisions in doing it. But I will tell you, Elvis does have a lot of trouble getting a handle on Hey Jude. Lot of trouble. He doesn't seem to understand the lyrics at all.
Right.
And I don't think he understands very much about what makes the song good.
Right.
So he goes, take a sad song upon your shoulders. Okay. But then at the end, and this is worth listening to, it's available on any music streaming thing.
Okay.
You don't have to pay for it specially, but Elvis's outtake of Hey Jude, he goes, da 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 da, Jude, 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 ba. Da da, Jude, 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 every single time through it. And I remember listening to that as a child and going, boy, Paul McCartney, once you've got Jude, 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 wow, you want to do that every time.
Sure.
And what makes a professional is not doing it every time. But you know something? Elvis Presley was a professional, and he does it every time. And I sat in my dressing room last night before going on, and I listened to Jude and Jude over and over again, and I just was helpless giggling. Like Trevor Noah with the added Sharpie thing on the map, who just couldn't stop giggling.
Yeah.
I know it's horrendous, and I know it is crossing. It is the bridge too far. We've crossed the Rubicon once again. We've crossed our 100th Rubicon with Trump.
We didn't know we had so many Rubicons.
Right. But that line on the map, I just couldn't stop giggling. And not heavy-duty laughter, not sarcastic laughter, just... And when Elvis does Jude and Jude over and over again, I just couldn't stop giggling. And then Robbie pointed out to me, in the ghetto, he buys a gun, steals a car, tries to run, but he don't get far
Don't get far.
in the ghetto. Robbie points out if he's stolen a car, why is he running? He should be driving if he's stolen a car. It's useless to steal a car and then run. So Robbie rewrote it, buys a gun, steals a car, runs out of gas, tries to run, falls on his ass in the ghetto. I think that solves all the problems there because you shouldn't have someone running while they're in a car. It's not safe. But that's my Elvis. Hey Jude. Now you just played the Kentucky State Fair.
Yes, and there was no dunk clown there. I'm sorry to report.
What was going on in the Kentucky State Fair?
Well, you know who I was working with was David Gerard, the
Oh,
guy
yeah,
who produced
really?
Moxie.
Yeah, I like.
He was on the
David
stage.
Gerard.
Right? David and I
Now,
were sharing that stage.
Is his show a Christian show?
No, it is not. It
Just-
is a
just
magic
that-
show. He's doing, sawing in half and a few other really cool tricks.
Was he
And
good?
He was very good and very pleasant. And
You know,
I got to
Mox.
hang out with him while he took me out to dinner a couple
Mox
times.
is still tight-lipped. I say to Mox, "What was it like being in that box with David Gerard?" I tell you, Dad.
Wow.
She plays
She's playing
stuff.
stuff. She's not gonna divulge the secret. She's a
No, no.
professional magician. That's
Yeah.
good for her.
Have we recorded since your daughter's been on the air?
No.
Oh, okay.
Moxie did Volterra.
Close it out.
David Gerard.
And I got Chris Christ,
Yeah.
who is the sideshow guy,
Yeah.
wrote and said Moxie did a great job at Volterra. He also said, I was thrilled with this, there were some lines that I hadn't heard. Here's a guy who's been doing
Wow.
Volterra for
Yeah.
70 years.
Yeah.
There's some lines he hadn't heard. Now, I should be puffing my chest out and crowing like a cock,
Yeah.
but I'm not because those lines came from Doc Swan, who said, I've never done these lines when any carny people are around because I know that Chris will get a hold of them. So they were specifically kept from Chris by Doc Swan.
Apparently effectively.
And then Doc gave them to me to use
Right.
for Moxie.
That's great.
So I have opened up that part of the cultural Volterra thing by giving Doc Swan, because Doc said, I want you to use these lines, but once you use them on TV,
They're gone.
then everybody's got them. Of course, I didn't point out to Doc that how many Volterras are working in the country now?
Yeah.
None. It's harder to find than a dunk clown.
Right. Now you got Moxie a gig though, full time.
Moxie did a great job.
Yeah.
Also, my friend Norman Beck, who's been on the show,
Yeah.
he called up and said Moxie had a great deadpan style,
Yeah.
and she was very, very funny. And a lot of people thought she did a really great job. We had someone write in that says she should be wearing glasses, right?
Right.
Welcome to television, Mox.
Yeah, that she could do exercises to not have to wear glasses.
That's good.
Someone wrote in.
Good to know.
Yeah. And what is it? I'm not a crackpot and I got nothing to sell? Neither true. But people write to our show and start writing to Ready Rich. What's it? Question pen?
Question pen at
Gmail.
Now, question pen at Gmail is just a way to talk to a crazy person.
Yes.
You're not actually getting questions to me. You will engage in insane conversation with Ready Rich. And
Click a response.
when it starts out with a note starts out with
two lies.
two lies. I'm not a crackpot and I've got nothing to sell. Never true. So David Gerard.
David Gerard was there. We had a great time.
Now he took you out to dinner a couple times.
Couple times.
You didn't pay?
I didn't pay.
Not once?
Not once. That's how kind David Gerard is.
Well, or also tells us something else. But go on.
Well, it's true. It could. I was trying to save money in Kentucky.
Where'd you go?
I
to eat?
stayed at Matt King's condo.
Oh, how was that?
Which is great. Really delightful. And I got to tell you, Matt King's condo, that's where we need to go for squirrel fishing.
Oh, really?
There were a dozen squirrels in the yard every day. Squirrel fishing from Matt King's front yard.
As I get older, I like squirrels more.
Yeah.
That's all.
That's it.
It's full.
And they were fun to watch.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? People don't really, I don't think they sit and watch them anymore. I don't know what the hell that,
What happened to the world?
what happened to the world that they don't watch squirrels? Squirrels are funny.
Is that a relief or a disappointment to a squirrel?
I think it's a disappointment.
Yeah, like if you start watching, like Godot came on, they're like,
You
still
do-
got it.
You do
They were.
not.
I
You do not
watched
evolve that kind of flamboyant tale
No.
You don't want to be watched.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The tail is
The
beautiful.
control of it. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
You
that
would not
wave.
be twitching your fluffy tail if you didn't want to be watched. What I'm saying is very close to the squirrel was asking for. But I'm not.
So
squirrel-
just to review, as Marianne Williamson gets older, she becomes more libertarian.
Mm-hmm.
And as you get older,
I like squirrels.
you like squirrels.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
That seems fair.
Learnings.
Very nice.
What else in the Kentucky State Fair? What did you have?
You know what?
Deep fat fried.
I didn't
On
eat
a
anything.
stick.
I didn't eat anything at the fair. But one night I was driving. I decided I'm going to a vegan restaurant. I've got it on the map, and I'm driving along, and I pass a place that says Louie's Hot Chicken and Barbecue. And I thought, I have no idea what hot chicken is. So I pull in and I order hot chicken, and it turns out it's the greatest thing ever. I know you're not a chicken guy,
Oh,
and
I'm
I don't
not a
normally
chicken
eat chicken at this point, but man, this is amazing. And I look up the recipe for hot chicken, and it's you take you fry chicken, big pieces of fried chicken, but then you mix a bunch of spices in a pan, and you add 1 cup of the oil that you just fried the chickens in and stir it in, and then you paint that over the outside of it. So it's not just that it's deep fat fried, it is then you pour a cup of oil on top of it.
Now the good news is that Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Yeah.
One Kentucky Fried Chicken in like North Carolina
Yeah.
or something put out a vegan,
I am so excited about that.
and it was their fastest seller they've ever done.
I can't wait to try Kentucky
And
Fried.
That seems like a no-brainer. Like in
Fake
terms of
chicken.
like the replacement vegan stuff, the breaded chicken thing was early.
Also, I never ever liked I've said this before, the gristle and bones
Right.
and what I call the Paul Provenza parts of the chicken.
Yeah, he focuses on that quite a bit.
He eats all that. I never liked that, which is why fake
Did
chicken
they make?
satay,
Did they make?
Sounds perfect,
Did
doesn't
they
it?
make a vegan bone marrow? Did they make a?
they're working on everything. But I'll tell you, we've talked about this. The Impossible Burger is really good.
Yeah, they
and
are.
soon McDonald's will have a vegan offer.
Has to. Right.
It has to.
All of them will, because Taco Bell's got something.
Yeah,
right?
Taco Bell got him. Yeah.
Yeah, this is a really wonderful time to be a vegan and not want to be healthy.
That's a very
Okay,
good
what
time
else?
to be-
You know what? One day I went grocery shopping on my way there to the fair, and then left a brand new stick of deodorant in the cup holder of the car, not realizing that of course it's going to be 120 degrees and melt it, right?
Yeah.
Melted it all the way out. So when I got back to the car, I had just the plastic container with no deodorant in it at all. I scraped it all out and put it in a coffee cup and microwaved it and poured it back in and stuck it in the fridge. Turns out you can reconstitute the deodorant.
This is the.
Isn't that great?
I
You
did
guys
not
are
think.
excited about this.
I did not think we were going to have so much science in this
There's a
episode.
lot of science in this thing.
Also, Heloise, helpful hit tips from Heloise.
How to restore your melted deodorant.
Oh,
Dear,
no,
dear
Mark.
Heloise, I've melted my deodorant. What can I do? Well, I would be afraid to put deodorant in a microwave. Of course, it's Mac King's microwave, so what do you care?
Exactly.
The fact that everything Mac King eats in Kentucky will smell like menin
Yeah.
is okay with you.
I now want to know who's more amused watching who, Godot or the squirrel.
Screw
There were a lot of them at the
Their
window.
tails are right down.
Yeah.
They're just in the window going,
Look at him go! He's going to put it in the microwave.
he's melting deodorant. Now he's pouring it back in the container. I love this guy. I love this guy. Let's try some Godot fishing.
As I get older, I like watching Godot more and more.
They've got a pole with some Kentucky hot chicken on it, and they're picking me up.
You got anything? You got anything else to say about Mox on Fool Us?
Oh, I mean, it was great. I thought it was interesting, the whole like kind of like carnival angle, right? She's doing the Volterra, then she has like the huge guy come up and do the lifting
Yeah,
thing.
well, she did a good job on that.
It was really great. I just thought it was a fun fact because like Moxie was supposed to be on last year, but it was like like we were shooting on location.
Yeah.
But she had done that bit with a bunch of Chippendales dancers. So she's this is kind of fun bit for her. I don't know if she's gonna.
It is a fun bit.
Yeah.
I mean, I may have found the best dating thing for my daughter ever that she can go out and say, "Bitch, you can't pick me up." It's a great trick. And what's his name? Goldrake.
Yeah.
Gave her an original book of the Georgia Magnet, which is what she was doing. Is
Yeah.
called Georgia Magnet. and gave her the original book really nice as a little present.
Was she happy with the performance?
Very. And her schoolmates seemed to be fine.
Oh, great.
And
Good.
it came out all positive. Her Instagram account got a lot of followers.
Great.
She's very happy, and she's doing more magic. Her magic teacher came out this year. Last year, her magic teacher at camp came to Vegas, and we took him to see Piff and David and us and Mac. And then the new magic teacher said to Moxie, the guy from last year said he went to Vegas. And so, so he came out and, came over our house and had supper and talked with me about magic a little bit, but also went to all those shows. So you get to see, Mac and Piff, and that's kind of a final master's class.
Good
in
lineup,
magic.
yeah.
Yeah, she's really into magic. She practices a lot, does a lot of cards.
No, she doesn't practice a lot. She's her father's daughter.
As much as she has to.
Yeah.
Doing stage stuff like that, big stage stuff, is that something that she likes or wants to keep doing?
She's starting to do a little bit of cardistry. She carries around her deck all the time.
Right.
She was very happy. There's a wonderful picture. She went to see Piff. And my wife sent me this beautiful picture. It's Piff out of the dragon costume, baseball hat, looking like Piff. And it's Moxie, and they are really seriously talking magic.
Oh, that's
About 45 minutes, she was talking to my buddy Piff about magic, which you can imagine how my heart swells at that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
What else you got to say about Fool Us, Matt?
Well, let's see. So I was one of the things that had aired.
This will come on after it's aired. So what do you got to say about your bit on it?
It was fun to do it. I think the big wink on it or whatever is like that. You taught me the trick. That
You're trying to fool me with.
Yeah. And I played that like I was very interested in being on the show. The trick that does the best is the one you taught me.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, I got to get this. If I'm going to get on the air, I should get on the air doing this trick.
Mm-hmm.
So I just said like, it's, to the producers, it was like, hey, it's to my bosses. It's funny. It's no cards.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a local hire. All things in short supply, and they said, are Penn and Teller, do they know the trick? And I go, well, they definitely are, they definitely saw me do it early, but I've done it a lot since then, was my only response. So what was funny is I had a friend in the audience, and they ended up being sat coincidentally next to you guys, next to the booth or whatever. So the fun story that's not on air is, Teller was trying to look at the calculator the whole time. So we're trying to be on top of everything. He treated, straight up like I gotta keep my eyes peeled and everything, and was really nosing around. And you guys always, because of Sean Farquhar, always just say the most obvious things right off the bat to make sure that you don't just trip up on something silly on the way down. And oftentimes you guys are up on stage. If Teller is enthused, he'll begin that conversation as you go to sit down.
Yeah.
So my friend was sitting right next to your booth, right next to your judges' chairs. And as you guys started walking down towards the thing, Teller started laying out everything he'd observed on the trick. And all that could be heard was you going, Teller, no, Teller, shut up, Teller, shut up, Teller, we have everything, shut up. We know everything. We know it all.
Yes.
And what's funny is that I'm the only, every other contestant, the hardest thing to do, I coach them, I prep them for the interview. The hardest thing to do is most of the time they go oh, I can talk. I'm a really good talker. I go, no, you're going to be looking at Penn and Teller, talking to each other about your trick while someone else has a conversation with you. It's very distracting. You have to. You will learn nothing looking at them talking. You must focus on talking to Allison. That's what makes good television. Please have a good conversation with Allison, right? I, in the moment, thought I would have to make sure to follow my own advice. Not true. You guys just knew it. And so as I was talking to Allison, you guys were just looking at me. You guys, not only did I not fool you, but you guys were so confident that you didn't. You're like, no, we know it. Just go ahead.
Did you do this the way I taught you?
I wanted to say I went and did my apheresis.
Yeah.
My thing. And I just wanted to tell for those people who have lost a lot of weight, which is a lot of people.
Yeah.
Listen to our show, lost a lot of weight. As a matter of fact, 776 people have reported losing 37,254 pounds. I want to tell, because a lot of times people come to me and say, you're a real inspiration. You said, although it hasn't aired yet, that you did like to be the inspiration for people failing.
Yes.
I want to say that I was finishing up my apheresis and I had done 2.5, almost 3 hours.
Yeah.
They pulled out 2 full units and I was sitting there thinking, they have snacks. I said to myself, I will not have any snacks. I'm just going to have a drink of water and then I will go home and have a regular supper tonight and that'll be good. So no cookies for me. I had 14 Oreos. Just so you know, those times it doesn't go well and you think, oh man, Penn did such a good job. I said no cookies. I had 14. 14 Oreos. 14. That's the number. 14 Oreos. That's what no cookies means to me. 14 Oreos.
Yeah, it is tough. It's always that. It's always like, if I just break this little rule, I won't fall off the wagon completely.
Right.
And all of a sudden you're like, at the end, like,
Okay.
I ate like I was about to go into jail. Because of that one little decision.
Yeah,
You're like, that's just a cookie.
I had 1 cookie. Then I had 13 more.
Yeah.
That was
Well, one at a time. You stuff them all in your mouth at once, like a pig.
They're still vegan.
Yeah, they are vegan. They are vegan. I did want to say this other thing. I read Stories of Your Life and Others by Ted Chiang, and that's what the movie Arrival was based on.
Okay.
Okay. And, I have this thing. And
It's a bunch of short stories, right?
yeah, except 2 of them are novellas. They're really rather long short stories.
Oh, okay.
And when you're watching Arrival, all the stuff you said, it was a great movie, but you said, I wish they, it's all in the story, of course.
Oh, fun.
All the stuff you wish. I wish there were more linguistics, wish they explained this, wish I understood this. It's all in the story.
It's all there.
He is a great writer. And people make fun of me for this, Provenza especially, how I say that I hate stand-up comedy.
Right.
And then every stand-up comedian I see, I love.
Yes.
Because I only go see the good ones. That's the reason.
Yeah.
And I say I hate science fiction. And every science fiction book I read, I love. This book is an incredibly good book. He does something at the end of it that I am going to do. I was going to say steal, but it's nothing you'd steal. It's the greatest thing at the end of a book for someone like me, someone who loves poetry but thinks in prose, which is what I am.
Yeah.
At the end of the book, he has endnotes, and he has a couple pages on every story you just read and what he was trying to get across.
Oh, wow.
Where he got the idea,
Fantastic.
like a
good idea.
like a deep interview with himself. Except who needs to be asked the questions? He just goes, "This came from a conversation I had in college. It wasn't really going anywhere, but then I came up with this, and this, and I was hoping to do this."
Well, that's fascinating.
Really good.
Because that
Really good.
you normally there's the argument that you want the art to speak for itself and have other people with it.
Yeah, and that's bullshit. It was nice to hear what he was doing. It makes him
Especially
seem
for us
like
who can't figure that out.
he seems like a friend.
Yeah.
It's a really great book. I just wanted to push that. Stories of Your Life and Others by Ted Chiang. He has another book out that's newer and getting reviewed. Just came out like last week. I read the older one. He also has in the Arrival story, which is what's called Stories of Your Life. It's a beautiful story. Oh, is it beautiful? I mean, Arrival is nice. Really nice movie, but the story will rip you apart. The last line in it will just make you cry your eyes out. It's so beautiful. But he has, in the linguistic stuff, I love this. You want to have this in your quiver. The rabbit is ready to eat is a sentence that cannot be figured out in English unless you know the context. The rabbit is ready to eat. If you have a pet rabbit and he comes in from outside to get his lettuce, the rabbit is ready to eat.
Yeah.
If you are living on a rural farm that cooks rabbits and you look in the oven, the rabbit is ready to eat. I just love that. The rabbit is ready to eat. I just love those little...
Yeah.
The rabbit is ready to eat is one of those things I will say all the time. And I will also tell you, this is a giveaway. At some time, we will play the Steve Conrad show. And I will tell you that if he does another season of Perpetual Grace Limited, which has a lot of English actors doing American accents, every one of them will have in the script federal court order. Conrad's doing that for me. I told him, just for the table read, I'll be happy. He said, no. It'll be on the air. He said, I'll make them do it.
Are they doing a second, a third of?
Not for sure.
right.
Not third, no
Patriot?
third of the Patriot.
No.
But maybe a second of Perpetual Grace. Looks very good for a second of Perpetual. You watched Perpetual Grace, didn't you?
I haven't yet.
Oh, you haven't watched it.
So what's the app? It's on a different app, right?
It's on Epix.
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 There's no way we can see it.
No. You can get it's $8 a month, and there's a month free trial, and it's 10 shows.
All right.
So you
I can get it done in a month.
You can see it for free, or you can spend $8 and help a fella out. But you can watch it in
If I
one month.
sent him $8, would he send me a link?
But
How much for a thumb drive?
anyway, Perpetual
I'll mail it
Grace,
to him.
Perpetual Grace Limited
I gotta see it.
is as good as any show I've ever seen on television. It's on Epix. And Steve Conrad, you'll hear the interview I did with him. It's incredible. And one of the greatest things about Steve Conrad, and boy, this was inspiring to me, is he's not afraid to say he's trying to do good stuff.
Yeah.
There's this humility that turns into a callousness. Yeah, I bang on my fucking show. Let's just get some jokes in there. Who the fuck cares? And Steve Conrad says, I'm asking people to give me 10 hours of their time. I don't want it to just be the best I can do. I want it to be the best that's ever been done.
That's really
And
nice.
everybody on the show feels that way. If you're going to give me 10 hours, I want to give you the best I possibly can. And you know something? It shows.
Yeah.
And I will show something off.
Patriot was amazing.
Patriot was
Well,
the best.
Perpetual Grace is possibly better.
That's
It's
crazy.
impossible.
And I want to do this again. I want to do this. Get it. Get the rhythm. Get the rhythm. There we go. There we fucking go. Get it. Get the rhythm. Get the rhythm. There we go. There we fucking go. Get it. Get the rhythm. Get the rhythm. There we go. There we fucking go. Get it. I did that to Steve Conrad when he came on the show. And he said, 2 people in the world can do that. You and Ben Kingsley. It's in 5. That's what makes it so hard. Get it. Get the rhythm. Get the rhythm. There we go. There we fucking go. Get it. Get the rhythm. Get the rhythm. There we go. There we fucking go. Get it. Get the rhythm. He wrote this thing for Ben Kingsley to do as a chant, but to do it in 5. And I told him the joke that he didn't know, which is I said, the mobster who goes into the bar and says, do Strangers of the Night in 5/4. And the band leader goes, Strangers of the Night in 4/4. He goes, do Strangers in the Night in 5/4. He goes, it's 4/4. Do Strangers of the Night in 5/4. That's the way I sing it. He goes, okay. He goes, Strangers in the fucking night. It's that exact joke. But I'm now repeating things that in the podcast I'm going to be on later, so I shouldn't do that.
Fine tease.
Fine tease. And anything else on Fool Us? The Matt Donnelly's coming up?
Well, yeah. I guess I've already aired. The joke I had amongst friends was that there's one of the episode aired with this mentalist duo, Anka and Luca, and they asked Teller to name a totally random object, and he wrote kumquat
Yes.
on the board and then covered it.
Yeah.
And between that and Rebecca Herrera, where she asked him to draw anything, and he drew something that would break the internet if we put it out there, where you had to, whether it was a spaceship or was a sailboat. You could not tell whether the motion behind it was the ocean or that it was like flying through space. That at some point, as we head into season 7 of Fool Us possibly, should the word be out, don't fucking ask Teller to do anything. Don't ask him to write anything.
I would have drawn a tree and I would have said orange.
Exactly.
I would have not have done weird spaceship and kumquat.
On the TV that looked great. In person, it was like it ended up being this very long thing because I don't believe that the duo knew what a kumquat was. I'd never seen it spelled in an English way. They were foreign. And as Reddy pointed out, he doesn't even think Teller knows what a kumquat is.
Teller said it was the first funny word he thought of. That was his defense.
Yeah.
His defense of kumquat.
It's a funny word.
He is brilliant in that routine. It's basically, it looks like a comedic routine written for like a sketch comedy show. It's really, he shines in it. But I was laughing. I was like, just, if you're a mentalist, don't ask Teller to do shit. That's, if we haven't learned, he just really makes it very hard on mentalists.
Fuck you up. So Full Us is still on, still doing well. People
Did
love
Passing
it.
Zones thing go?
Passing Zone. We didn't talk about the Passing Zone.
I haven't
Passing
seen
Zone was on. Your buddies at the it came on. And you were hard on them. You were harder on them than you were in a lot of contestants.
Is that true?
Yes. And it's because they tried to fuck with you. They consulted
So
magicians.
they earned it.
Yeah, because you didn't realize, when watching, you didn't realize why you were hard on them. So the Passing Zone comes on, they get Teller up there, have him select a card, the poorest card handling you'll ever see ever. And then, even worse than me. And then they have one guy stands over Teller juggling a plunger on fire, a taser, and a thing with mousetraps, a stick with mousetraps on the end. And one of them hops over the top of him and catches all the clubs and continues juggling them as cards are thrown in the air. And sure enough, the mousetrap caught the card that they chose. And because they'd worked with magicians, they actually were messing with you. And they really wanted you to guess a particular method that was wrong. And you were onto that.
Right. They had done a meta trick.
Yes.
They had done a switch after the trick was over.
Yeah.
And the Passing Zone is not going to get away with a switch after the trick is over on me.
Jugglers.
Thank you very much, motherfucker. I do remember now.
Wow.
And that's what I was like, you're being so hard on them, like more than any other contestant. It was strange until you got to the end. And you realized, like, oh, they thought they were messing with you. They thought they were going to fool you.
They were really, as I forget who it was that said, was it you that said they go out there and they do an incredible juggling routine that no one else in the world could do, and then are really depressed? They didn't fool us with a rough, smooth thing. Anything else, guys?
All is
How was Hawaii?
Hawaii was fantastic. Took my kids to the ocean for the first time, swimming in the ocean in Hawaii.
Lord.
And they were squealing, screaming with delight.
Jellyfish?
Just loving it. And just made me realize how spoiled I was as a kid. I grew up in Jersey Shore and I went to the ocean all the time.
Oh, yeah.
And I just realized how spoiled I was.
Spoiled. He's spoiled. He went to the Jersey Shore. His kids went to Hawaii.
That's true.
He is spoiled.
No, that is true. It was a risk to spend the money to take them there. That if they went to the ocean, like, I hate it. Like, oh, there's thousands of dollars down the toilet. But no, they loved it. But it was beautiful. And my wife and I stayed together after we were there, which is breaks the pendulum Hawaii method.
Well, it's not why I do things. That was Penn Sunday School.
That was Penn Sunday School.
Cha-cha-cha.
And to our listening ears,
You become naked.
all nature sang and round us rang the music of the spheres.
Oh, I wanted to thank a woman in Milwaukee. She came out of the show and asked me to write "No God" across her breast. She said you could have a choice of breast or ass.
Whoa.
Like Kentucky Fried Chicken. And so I get to write "No God" on a breast. Could not be more thrilled. I enjoyed it very much. Thank you, Milwaukee. You know I love you, Milwaukee and everywhere else.
I signed a kid's forehead. That's crap.